What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 376 of Opinions May Vary. I'm your host, JR. I have my co-host with me, Alex.
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
How's it going? Seems like you're feeling better.
I am.
A little bit better. A little less stuffy.
Mm-hmm.
Joining us this week over the internet machines is a new friend. Alex is a little more familiar. I'm going to let him tell a story in a little bit about where we're coming from. But this week we are joined by toy designer and 3D artist who goes by the name of 3D Hero. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me, guys.
We're going to have a lot of fun today, mostly because we're kind of a little outside of our wheelhouse with this. Especially me. Alex knows a little bit more. And this is kind of like our hype up. This is you have 2 days to listen to this before there's a show that this kind of all pertains to, because we're going to be going to 5 Points Fest in a couple days this weekend. This weekend meaning June 1st. Is that when it is? June 1st and 2nd?
Correct.
Last year, Alex and our good friend John checked it out. You can go and listen to our recap. I don't remember what episode it was. It was a year ago.
324.
324.
And 326. We had John on for 26. That was our review episode, and 324 was our preview episode.
Right.
Where we talked with
Sarah and Josh.
Sarah Booz and Josh Kimberg.
Yes, we nailed it.
Oh, clutter.
So this is the show's second year going. It's going to be my first year kind of experiencing this, so I'm a definite I'm a little green when it comes to this, so I'm here to get my knowledge on, get my learn on, and Alex, being the amazing guest scout that he is, he finds 99.9% of all of our guests. He tracked down we're going to refer to you as Hero, and here we are. So I'm gonna kick it off to Alex. What's going on? What are we doing?
I really wanted us to talk about some 5 points before we got to go there.
Yep.
And we needed to find an interesting guest. And I was looking up who was going, and I look up some hashtags. I look up some artists that I already follow, and then I see what they make. And I was like, this guy makes some cool stuff. And then, you have to have an idea for their personality. And luckily, some people have really good social media presence. They do their live chats. They do their stories. You can hear them talk. They sound fun. And Hero was especially all those things.
Oh, wow.
and one of the live videos, he spins the camera to himself and does a really solid, like a pro wrestler-esque, 20-minute intro. And it was fantastic. And I'm like,
oh, man.
This is going to be great.
You guys are making me blush. I can't see it, but I know you can hear it.
We tend to do that. But
so luckily, I said, do you have time this week? And the truth is that no, he doesn't. But he's making he's making some room for us anyway.
Just don't tell my manager; she'll kill me.
You're doing some promo. It works. It's marketing. It's fine. It's fine. Don't tell her.
Yeah. I'll tell her all that stuff and still get in trouble. But yeah,
So, you've been making things for a long time. Your website profile says you've been working in Maya and ZBrush for a bunch of years, but a lot of what I see is just physical objects that you're painting. And I guess we really enjoy talking to creators and makers and artists and people who make physical things, or even if it's digital thing, people that make. We're into creators.
Yep.
Do you have a preference between sculpting physical things and painting versus making things digitally?
Well, with me, it's like having your own baby, which is like, oh my goodness, I created this and it's in my hands. But I kind of go back and forth, where sometimes I'm like, I really want to sculpt a bunch of things 3D, and sometimes I don't even want to look at a computer. So I kind of go back and forth. For me, it's always been, I just want to create characters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first, it was the third day in college. They're teaching us all these techniques and the skills, and they came across 3D modeling, and I said, okay, cool. I want to make cool characters for the rest of my life. And I've been saying it ever since college. But yeah.
I can imagine it's college gets to a sticking point where it'd be no, I don't want to design a room or a building. I want to design a new mecha or a kaiju or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any like stopping points like that for you, where it's like, no, can we just get by this so I can make cool stuff now?
Okay, so I hope you're strapped in because this will be a very unorthodox and crazy story.
Uh-huh.
Well, for me, I've always loved Gundams, robots, Power Rangers, and mecha type of things. But the way my kind of brain works, I can't draw very, I guess, clean lines and just like bold shapes. My brain is just too random to do that. Like I trust me, I tried. Like the first whole freshman year, I had sketchbooks of just terrible mechas, and I mean, they're just terrible. I tried hard. I'm like, what is this? What's going on? Then I said, you know what? Let's just go down to everything. Let's try humanoids. Let's try hyper realistic. Let's try cartoony. And then I slowly started to figure out what I like. And I love armor. I love knights, monsters, creatures. I love anatomy. And I kind of learned it all that way. And then from there, we had to create a short film and stuff. So I have my own film that mixes all of that together. But then in the end, it kind of came to what do I really, really like? Superheroes and armor and then like just monsters for the win. That's my biggest thing right there. But it took some time to get it down.
It's always interesting to hear people like describe their, I guess I'll call it a process of like getting to the thing they know they're good at and that they'll enjoy doing.
Oh, I'm still new to the whole podcast thing, so I'm trying to make it more fluid, like conversation. But at the same time, I'm like, I have a habit of taking over conversations and talking until I'm blue in the face. So I want to be polite.
We're also great at asking not questions.
Yeah. We'll say a statement that we just expect someone knows. This is where you give us a reply, and they'll be like, let me try and think of something to your non-question.
We're also not good at this.
Yeah, we've only been doing it for 7 years, but eventually.
7 years. Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about right there. that's some not experience right there.
Exactly. So coming up with these characters, because like scrolling through, I see one thing that I see a lot of in the very limited toy experience that I have, or figures, toys, however you want to refer to them as. You see a lot of similar characters with different colorways, more unique colorways, maybe more rare colorways. Like, oh, hey, there's only 4 of these. Mm-hmm. That's why this one costs $700. But you can also get this one there for $100, and there's a million of them. One thing, scrolling through your Instagram here, I am seeing a lot of unique characters. I'm even seeing, is this Invincible here with purple hair?
The fact that you knew that, I'm just like, oh man, he already knows a little bit more than me about my own stuff.
I see Invincible, and I like. I'm a simple man, but I do see a lot of variety in your characters. I do see some some different colorways of the same characters, but I do see a lot of variety here. Is it ever a struggle to come up with unique sculpts, unique character designs, or anything like that?
Well, I've been actually waiting for this question. And like you said, this is you said a bunch of stuff, and I was like, wait, stop. I want to answer that part of the question. And you kept talking, I was like, oh man, I gotta forget.
We can go in tears.
Yeah, tears yes. If you can do things in tears, please. Because if you don't, I'm going to be in tears. Okay. So I guess the first thing is, how do I come up with the characters?
Yeah. How do you keep it fresh? How do you keep it original? Like I'm seeing on your page here.
Honestly, so about a year ago, most of my characters come to me in dreams based on inspiration. I do not control it. I do not plan it. I don't plan anything. So when you say, how do you come up with this paint job? I don't plan it. I literally just let my hands do the talking. I'll sketch in my sketchbook to get a very rough, basic idea. And then after that, once I actually put clay to the figure, I'll see something and go, whoa, it's different now. So my hands, I just start pushing this. Oh, whoa, this might look good. Let's drill a hole in here. And next thing you know, I'm like, okay, we're on to something. And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't know what's happening, but apparently my hands do. So take the wheel. So that's how you get the variety in very randomness, because my art is directly it's based on me, and I'm like we can have a conversation. I'll talk about 50,000 different things in that one sentence, and that's how my art is. So like
Mhm.
1 minute you're like, oh, he's doing the Yeti and he's covered in pie armor. Okay. Oh, now he's doing Bumblebee gangsters, and now it's this dinosaur praying mantis. I don't know what he's on, but I'm pretty sure it's not legal. So that's just how I am as a person. So my art directly affects it. The only thing that I guess you could say consistent would be my superhero is my main character, Bright Star. He has his own world. He has his own villains, his own storyline. He's the only thing that is essentially consistent. Everything else, when I do custom pieces, they start with a sketch and then it just takes on a life of its own.
Either once you put an idea down for the first time, is there a chance of coming back to it, or like once you kind of addressed it, are you done with it? Or are there points where it's like, yo, can we get back to your praying mantis dinosaur again?
Generally, I don't if I do a one-off, I don't recreate it just because it's a one-off. It's special. I created it with that image in mind at that moment, and I honestly I can't go back to it because I get bored. So it's like, oh, you created this one piece. Oh, I like to convince you to make that same thing, and I'll generally be like, no, I can do something inspired by it, close to it, but I'm not doing it again because I have a very short attention span, and I get bored very dangerously easy.
And JR had asked about your ideas for your color schemes and all the different colorways that you've made, and and even your originals or your or the one-offs and the variety that you make. Do you start off with a plan, or like do you know like, well, this specific one is for this event and I'm gonna try and like tune it to the audience, or this is what I want to make at this moment?
So let's see. I have a color palette that I've essentially created without realizing it, and would be red, yellow, and blue. And you can make that gold instead of yellow. You can make it a version of red. You can make different tones of blues. But if you look at my profile, gather all the image, it's essentially those three colors everywhere. And I done that I didn't plan it. It just kind of, my manager was like, oh yeah, you didn't know you have a color scheme. I was like, no, I just kind of make stuff. And if you look at my most recent piece I just uploaded, like I think it was this morning. The mask is gold, the eyes are red, and the body's blue. And then you look at the next piece, it's the same. It's like red, blue, and or gold. And you look at the next piece, it's an orange, which you can take as a type of yellow. And then you have so essentially that's how it works. Or I do it based on characters. So a character colorway that I've done for 5 points, Big Daddy Q, he's based off of my big villain, Big Daddy Samurai. Those are his colors. And I just kind of tweaked it up with some gradients and some pearls. And then there's the new vinyl I have coming out with Quicks, for the Tenacious Soy colorway, Bright Star Blue. So that one, red eyes, blue body, and it just doesn't have the yellow in it, but that's about it. So that's how I kind of go about everything, but I don't think about it because that's where I mess up. If I'm thinking about it and planning it, that's where I mess up. So I just honestly make the piece, and those colors come out every single time naturally. I don't know why.
It just happens.
It's better stock up on those colors then. just buy them in
That's
bulk.
the thing. I have like so many different versions. I have warm yellows. I have warm, cool, mid-tone yellows, bright, dark. I have medium blues, light blues, dark blues, teal blues. I have red pearl. I have so many of those, like every red, maroon, burgundy, like every color you could possibly think red could be, I possibly have it. I don't know why.
We had an illustrator and painter talk to us a long time ago, and he had to like, for as long as we've been going to Comic-Cons and buying sketches and buying original art, it took until that point for him to explain to us the warm and cool grays for markers for doing his sketches and his commissions, really. And like, we had never thought of it because we're not artists.
Yeah, we're not talented. Nope.
Oh my goodness.
and now as you're talking, you're like, yeah, cool yellow. I'm like, what would a cool yellow be?
Yellow's not just yellow.
I recently learned that too, but it's more like you have a yellow, and it's like a tint or a hint of blue in it, which it makes it like for me, I can tell like it'll be like, oh, that's a gold, but a cool gold because there's a
Mm.
hint of blue in it. It's not blue like a very, it's just a very soft, cool kind of feeling to it.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh, I have another like my favorite gold for Bright Star is a very warm gold. Like it almost looks like red, but it is gold, and that's my favorite. But it varies. Um, and for let's say when I go to the yellows, okay, I prefer most warm yellows. Like I rarely use cool yellows because
Hmm.
it just looks tacky to me. But that's just me.
As far as your characters and the actual physical figures go, are do you hand paint everything?
I airbrush, and then I airbrush the base colors, which on my Instagram I do have in my highlights. It shows flat primer, flat color,
Hmm.
and then dry brushing to airbrushing. So what I'll do is use an airbrush to try to get a flat tone color. So if it's a character like, oh, it's a Bright Star character, I'll do the green all over his body. Then from there, I use airbrush paints and I'll hand paint all his details. So like let's hand paint the gold. Once that's all done on all of them, let's hand paint the silver. Let's hand paint and do all any writing or scripts on it, which is all at that point, yes, hand painted. So that's generally how I do most of my pieces.
It's I would panic with that
Yeah.
just because like
Yep.
my hands aren't steady enough. I feel like I'm just okay enough airbrushing where I can do Halloween makeup for a haunted house kind of stuff.
Mm.
But working with something that I have to hold or something that's smaller than that,
And that you're hoping to sell to a customer.
and getting out them fine brushes that I see on your Instagram when you have your stories up and like you're actively people could watch you do some of your painting and then they could buy that figure that you're actively painting anyway. Um, I would panic. Hey, what if I mess up? Am I able to just cover that up, or do I have to restart the entire thing? Do you,
Uh, I know what you mean, and what you have to do is just don't. And I know you're like, what? I'm like, stop caring so much. Stop thinking. Essentially, all the knowledge I have learned over the years, I wouldn't say I've thrown it away, but I've taken artistic ability that I've gained, but all the teaching thrown it away. And
hmm,
by doing that, I don't second guess. I know when a piece is finished because before it took me about I've been in the toy scene for about 4 years. So when I started off, I didn't know anyone. I didn't know what to do,
hmm,
and I just kept making pieces. And I would listen to other people. They'd be like, "Oh, you do this. This looks better. That looks better." And I would always have a feeling saying like, "This doesn't feel complete." Yes, this person who I admire, who I look up to as an artist, say it looks good, it's finished, I like it like that. But I'm like, you're not me, and something's telling me inside it doesn't feel right. And that's how I do my art. It's all based on what I feel. As in, if I'm in a good mood, sometimes the pieces will come out unbelievably insane, and if I'm in a bad mood, they will show. Like it just does. And one day I just used because I like detail, but at the same time I like cartoony, so I use washes to get in the cracks and the crevices. And I
hmm.
was like, it just felt right. I was like, whoa, this is what I've been missing. But then that person, that artist, was like, I don't like it anymore. Not saying I don't like your art, I don't like what you did to it. And I just had to go, I had to accept that. And then from there, I just tried it again. But this time I said, let me try dry brushing because I want to hit the highlight, the highest point of that sculpt with a bright, very contrast color. And then the inside, I wanted to be very dark in the grooves, and I wanted that contrast, like the pop. So I just tried dry brush, and I was like, I did it. I finally figured out what that thing was missing, and that's essentially how I came across one style of that I do. Because
Hmm.
you'll notice I do one style where it's very clean. It's very uh, it's no like it's high contrast, but it's very clean, it's very shiny. It's nothing about the crevices. And then there's another style when I mostly do custom pieces. When I hand sculpt stuff, is where you'll see grunge, you'll see the popness, you'll see gradients, you'll see sparkle, like everything. Like the
Hmm.
piece, my most recent two posts show exactly what I mean. How one's hand painted, clean, crisp, like a computer, and then one next to it's like it looks like a very traditional sculpture done in like the 1800s or something, or where it's like it's in depth. It's like 20 different hues of this and that, and dry brushing. I'm very random, as you can tell, but you'll just own it.
Um, and I liked how we could watch you do some of this. Because I believe it was last night you were painting the King Bayram, and you had that on live, and you were just holding it in your hand, and like my ignorant description was just that you're just slapping it with the brush, basically, just to get the paint on, because that was the base coat as well.
Yes.
And I'm going to blank on his name right now. This guy that makes these gorgeous skulls out of Australia.
Right.
And like when he shows his prototype paint, like he's wearing gloves as he does it, and it's really slow lines to make sure the line's perfect. And like here's two completely different styles.
Yeah.
And they both work.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like I look at some it's just it blows me away coming from a standpoint of being completely inept when it comes to art. When I see things like this, like the few pieces that I do have in my collection, when I see like on the box, it says like limited whatever out of 10 or 20 pieces, whatever it may be, hand painted, and I pull it. This isn't hand. There's no way this is hand painted. This is made in a machine. I'm cool with that. If you're lying, why would they lie about it being hand painted? It's and like that's where it just being so bad at art and all that stuff. It's hard for my brain to even fathom something being made so well, being done by hand, because I just can't comprehend it. My hands wouldn't work that way.
Or one of your pieces is like 3 different colors of clear resin.
Yeah, that too. Yep. But as far as you mentioned that you've been in the toy game, for a couple years now. It sounds like mostly. I don't want to say self-taught, but it sounds like you've learned a lot of, tricks of the trade on the way. Do you credit anyone, that you worked alongside with who like kind of like, brought you up, or was this really like kind of a one-man show, just learning everything as you go?
Okay. So starting out for me, I met, to get in the whole toy scene, I met my friend Alex, Playful Gorilla. I was at New York Comic Con. I was bored with the whole, like, just here's Batman, here's Superman, here's a super hyper realistic detailed sculpture. I'm a person who likes character. I like character, and I love a strong silhouette. If I don't see a strong silhouette, I don't care. Like, I just get bored because I'm like, I want to be able to see that character in the dark and know exactly who it is and get excited about it. So I came across his character. I saw it. It was unbelievably beautiful. It was the coolest thing at New York Comic Con to me, and I just started talking. He said, I'm gonna tell you about this whole world. 4 months later, he had a show. He invited me to a show, like an art gallery at a designer toy store. I got to meet the people, big names who I had no idea, companies, all this stuff. And from there, I said, what do I do? He's like, just make a piece. I said, how? He's like, here, take this 3-inch money and do something. So I remember I was in the park or something outside, so I took some Sculpey clay and just made a Squirtle. I was like, yeah, let's just see what happens. I don't really sculpt, but I have a very strong traditional background. So I said, it shouldn't be that hard, and it wasn't. I sculpted the Squirtle. It looked really cool. I didn't really know how to do much, so I just showed him. He said, now try sanding it. I tried different types of sanding techniques, and I love to learn, so I just kept researching, watching videos. Then he's like, try painting it. At this point, doing flat colors, and he's like, cool, be in my show. My first piece was, my next piece was like my favorite villain in Dragon Ball Z is Frieza. So I made a little tiny money version of Frieza with his little chair and everything. And he's like, he was like really surprised. He's like, you just started out, but you're already trying to like overachieve. Because I sculpted his chair. He fit inside the chair. He had like his tails all like, hand painted, little details. And it was just like, I was scared to do a lot of the stuff, but I always say if it doesn't scare you, it ain't working.
Huh.
So that's how I keep pushing. And then, as he said, I would say, if it's not scaring me to do this and I'm not doing it for a job, then I'm wasting my time. I need to be almost scared. When I'm doing something big or trying to push, I need to be scared every single time to start. So next piece, after that, he invited me to more shows. Then he had a booth space at New York Comic Con. He invited me there. And I made a bunch of little Dragon Ball Z figures. I actually sold my first couple Dragon Ball Z money figures to this guy who every once in a while I see him, but he works at Funimation. He really liked my pieces, and I was like, okay, cool. I think I can do this. And I just recently quit my job where I was working in TV and commercials and video games in New York. And I said, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I want to make toys. My family lost their minds. They went crazy. They screamed at me. You know, mom's like, "What are you doing? You're big time and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to make toys, mom." So that was scary. But from there, I just kept making stuff and pushing and pushing. And then I tried to work with companies. So I started working with Martian Toys as like an intern, meeting people there. Again, I got invited to New York Comic Con to work for them, and now I'm networking. So I just really focused on networking and meeting the people and sharing my personality to everybody. Mm-hmm. That's who I am. I'm a big personality. Hopefully, we meet at 5 Points because I'm the first booth as soon as you get there, and you'll understand. Oh, so that's what he meant.
Okay. We get it.
Right. He's like, oh, I couldn't stop talking about yourself. But next question about yourself.
I mean, that's literally, we appreciate that. We are more than okay with you talking about yourself. That's why we have so many guests on, is because we don't find ourselves very interesting, but other people are.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
we try to be as conceited as possible so I can talk about me.
Perfect.
And I'll make sure to cut you off, make sure you say nothing. It's just all about me. We should just change the show to all about the hero.
Opinions may hero. Heroes may vary.
Heroes may, yeah, yep. We'll figure it out in post.
Oh my goodness, you guys are
awesome. For listeners who don't know what Hero's talking about, if they may have caught the series of Moneys or Dunnies that have shown up in pop culture shops, like they've shown up in, what do we have? We have I can't think of the name of the place.
Pop cult, like Newbury Comics?
Newbury Comics. So we have a bunch of Newbury Comics in the area. Up north further, it's Bull Moose Music. And so a lot of those places were carrying these a while ago. And now they're not as common as they used to be. I think our comic shop in town had a few versions of them. They had the bunny one that was also Venom.
Right. Yep.
And so that's, as you said, this has been a really strong starting point for a lot of artists that have, going on to do more of their own things and customize other ones. But if anyone's interested in making their own, it's MUNNY is the money, not as in dollars money. But moving on, this is stuff that I've caught on to, and I think I've made a bought one or two going, oh, I want to try this, and then completely given up. Within my first color, because I don't know what I'd want to make. Yep. I have no idea.
Yep.
It was just lost to me. As you were talking about networking, your name pops up in association with at least 3 other booths that are at 5 Points this year, if not more. I may not be counting correctly, because either you're painted a thing you're on Tenacious Toys because you painted one of the quick helmets, and you're also with Strange Cat, and you've got your own booth. So how has that been like? Either is this easy to network through them, or do you have to approach them? Do they approach you, knowing if you've gotten a certain point in popularity or a name or in quality of work that you've done? How do you end up working with so many different other tables?
So I'll say I'm glad you circled back around, because I was I thought we were doing tiers and you just asked 4 questions and I'm still trying to remember what the first one was. But you came around, so I think you said, let's see, oh my goodness.
Networking.
Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. So for networking, it's something I learned in college. So I'm an extremely competitive person, and I always thought by me being, showing my skills and being better than everybody else, I would get all the jobs, I would get requested, I would be wanted. Mm-hmm. And I found out very soon and very fast I was wrong, because I graduated I went to a school of visual arts, and I graduated in the top 10 of my class. The film I created won awards and everything. So I was thinking, boom, I'm gonna graduate. Everyone's gonna want me. I'm gonna be awesome. I applied to, and this is, we applied to places before you graduate,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't getting. Like people were telling me, oh, this company hired me, this company, and I was looking like, but how? I'm better than you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. And like I said, this was me in college. I was a very conceited person
Yep.
to levels of, oh my word. But I was like, why are they getting it and I'm not? And then I realized their teachers worked at these companies, so they talked to them and they got in. And I'm like, but I'm better. I need it. Why am I not getting it? And I still got jobs like offered to me, but it wasn't the places I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
So then I realized I'm like, okay, maybe it's not about how good I am, it's who you know, plus you having a moderate to semi-advanced skill. So then I tested it out by, getting to know people, and it's like, oh, I know such and such. Oh, and then if someone says, oh, I heard from you from this person. I heard about you from that person. I saw you collaborated with that person, and I was like, huh. I didn't have to actually, go overboard and go crazy. It was just like through who they knew. And at the same thing when I was at these companies, instead of them saying, "Oh, we want to, bring in new artists," they came to me, somebody who they just hired, and said, "Hey, do you have any friends who can do this?" And I'm thinking, "Wait, I just started here, and you want me to bring in my friends to work for you guys?" And like, yeah, I'm like, that's how people are doing it. Okay. So my main goal was to, one, be less cocky and just kind of share my personality and who I was. And I love helping people. I love doing work for people, kind of making people happy and smile. So one thing I did was I'm like, I went around my second year at New York Comic Con. I went around. I was like, okay, I want to help people. But I don't know how. So I went to certain companies. I said, hey, do you need help? Do you need lift any boxes? Do you need someone to help you sell the toys? I wasn't marketing myself as an artist. I just said I want to help you because that's what I want. I want to be, one, yes, get in with the company, but at the same time, if someone's struggling or needs some help, I want to be your hero. Hence, my name, 3D Hero.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily enough, one company said yes, and that was Tenacious Toys. They said, yeah, you can help. And I was like, oh, thanks. I didn't ask for payment, didn't ask for toys, nothing. I just wanted to help. I wanted to meet the people, and I wanted to, network. So I got to help him for the whole show, and it was amazing. Benny, he's an unbelievably, like, just so friendly, and he's so cool. And yeah, and then I just had a really good time. I got to meet a bunch of toy collectors, toy people, and then from there, I think I saw from the Martian Toys, and I said I wanted to work with them. They invited me to be at the con to work with them. Again, lifting boxes, helping sell toys, networking, and just talking. I'm not asking for like this and that. I'm like, if you offer it, if that's part of the deal, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to I want to get in this scene. I want to get as deep as I can all over, everywhere. And then sometimes people didn't even know I made toys, and I didn't even tell them. I didn't even hand out cards because that was not my focus. My focus
Mm-hmm.
was to just know the people, learn the business, see what's going on, get in the experience. So I just kept doing that more and more, and then eventually people found out I did 3D sculpting, and then I said, can I sculpt this for you? And then some people saw how fast I was, how detailed, and from there just kept going and building more and more. And then now it's like I sculpted stuff for Strange Cat Toys. I sculpted things for Quicks, Martian Toys, and it was all just. It started off by me just saying, "Hey, can I help you at your booth?" And then people just kind of knowing who I am.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it started. And now it's more so people like my artwork, so I just kind of post it everywhere and just hope people go, "Yay!"
that's a difficult sacrifice to have to make, but
See, it's not really a sacrifice though
so,
for me because I wanted to do it.
right.
Right.
The
It's
big thing is now.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry if I keep interrupting.
No,
you.
go ahead.
Okay. The big thing is now, because I know how it is starting out, I try to help newer artists. And most of the time, it's funny because most artists in the scene are older than me. So it's really weird sometimes because I'm like, I am like way younger than you. But I'm like, let me help you. And they're like, what? I'm like, and then they ask for advice. Or I say, hey, I have a name. I'm somewhat something. Let's do a collaboration. And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, because I know how it is starting out. That's another thing. Starting out, I did as many collaborations. I asked to work with as many artists as I could.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, my name's on their Instagram. My name is on their Instagram. My name is here. So people kept seeing. I just wanted them to constantly keep seeing my name until this day. Right now, like working with the artist Fifth Turtle. I think he's an amazing caster. He has unbelievable, adorable, hardcore designs, and I constantly want to keep working with him. And now, last year he was buying my resins at 5 points. This year he has a booth, and people are running to get stuff. They're going to be running to get stuff to his booth. But I'm like, that is all you. That is all your talent. I only helped a little bit, so people saw your name on my profile. That is all.
Man, I really respect that. if we're gonna be candid here, that's super rad. It is very easy to get caught up in, I want to do my thing. Let me do me. Like, why am I not the one? Like, to just be like, hey man, let me help out. I'm not even here to promote my brand. I'm just here I want to help out. I want to do everything I can to get involved. Like, I think a lot of people would get stuck on that, like that would be maybe where they give up on their dream, like where the struggle and the hard work that comes along with getting your name out there, like that, it's not easy.
It's to go on top of that is like, if I were to try and have to take the step away from being a collector, and then like, well, no, you're not here to buy anything anymore. You're not here to get like something in the top 5 of the series run or something. You're just here to like hang out and try and promote yourself, promote other people. When I was like, oh, that's, it's part of the sacrifice. If you want to make, then it's not a sacrifice anymore, because now that's your job.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like for me, because I get essentially in the perfect spot for all the toy scenes. Like, I'm close to New York, I'm in Philly, so I travel a lot and I go to a lot of big events. Like, I just got back from ToyCon UK. I tell people, I'm like, oh, if you need toys, if you need things, I can grab them for you. And it's a little things called muling. So you pick up the toys for people, and then they pay you to pick up the toys or whatever like that. And like for me, it's just like, oh, little bit here and there, very, very minimum as possible. I'm like, if I'm going there, I can pick up the toy for you, whatever. So that's one thing I try to offer to people. I'm like, oh, I'm going to New York Comic Con. If you need stuff, let me know. I'm going to this event. If you need something, let me know. I went to ToyCon UK. I said, oh, someone needs something, let me know. People will hit me up, and so I'm like, let me help you get the things you want if you can't go, because I have the opportunity to go to these events. I have the opportunity to live essentially the way that I want. And it was not an easy journey. It was extremely hard. It's, I had to sacrifice a lot, but I'm sacrificing for my dream, my goal. And I'm like, if I can help you get some toys, some things, pick up some stuff for you, by all means, let me know. But I'll do the best I can within reason. And that's, like, for me, that's another thing that I try to do. I can't do it, I can't do it for 5 points because I have a booth and all, but, any other event that I'm not vending at and I go, I try to do that too.
I do want to let's talk about 5 points with this show coming up in just a couple days here. I'm gonna try and get this posted as soon as possible to give people the maximum amount of time to listen. You've mentioned when we were doing pre-show, you've been to every 5 points so far. Is this going to be the 3rd or 4th one? I can't remember how many there have been.
Dang. I want to say this is the 4th one. The first one was in New York, but it was like by the water or something. And at that time, I was working a booth with Martian Toys, and it was the first year of 5 points. It was 3 years ago. I would say I'm getting old, but I'm still young. So, so I was helping them, and I was like, this is an awesome event. I loved it. The after parties were unbelievable. I was dancing everywhere, breakdancing, doing windmills and whatnot, like having the time. You'll see it this year. Trust me. Don't worry. I'll be doing it too. But I was having the time of my life, and I was like, this is awesome. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna work hard next year. I'm gonna get a booth. Wait, what's that do? And I think the following year, I get, what did I? Oh, I think I was, I'm drawing a blank because it could be the 3rd year, it could be the 4th year. I don't know. Like I said, I have the memory of a goldfish.
Yeah.
So I know that the next year, maybe this is the 3rd year. Oh, this is not good.
We talked to the founders last year.
Yeah. They literally told us multiple times, and we can't even remember.
So I think this is the 3rd year, because last year was my first time vending for myself. And finally, I had my own original character. It was no fan art stuff. It was mostly all just me, and I had one of the best shows I've ever had
Hmm.
doing me promoting me. And I shared a table with Tenacious Toys because I'm like, I don't have a massive amount of stuff and I only need half a table. And luckily enough, he agreed. He said that's cool. Let's do this. And then now this year, again, I'm sharing a table, but now I'm also releasing a vinyl toy with him. And at the same time, I have a slew of characters, different things, collaborations, a lot of one-off pieces, mini versions, big versions of my own character that I brought last year. I need to stop forgetting the question, and because I just keep talking, I realize.
I mean, really, the question, like, we haven't even we're just getting into it, so we're more than happy letting you talk about, because we want to talk about 5 points now. Your
Okay.
experiences at 5 points. We'll actually get a specific question going in a second, because this is going to be my first time going. I'm very excited. It seems to be a great show, and it seems like you've had nothing but pretty much positive experiences here. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's all been really good. I've had no issues. I love going to the event. I love getting as early as possible, staying as late, going to all the events and everything. I absolutely love it. It's the best. I say for me, like people ask like, what con should I do? I want to get into this. Where should I go? I'm like, honestly, people or person I am talking to, go to 5 points. Like for me, I went in still people between 5 points last year and this year. Like it's been insane how much more people know about me just from a year ago. But I'm like, it's amazing. People, it's all varieties, all different types of customers, people from all over the world. They are not just, oh, I want this one artist things. They like, no, I want to look around and find new stuff. I want to look around and find the crazier things. I want to find unique stuff. Like people actually really take their time. They look around. They still run to the booth they want, but they take their time. They try to, they talk to you, tell me about the characters you're doing. So it's definitely like that's why I say it's one of my favorite events, and I tell everyone they need to go if you want to get into this toy scene. And at first, I tell them do custom shows. It's usually do one piece. People can see you. You have the help of a gallery to promote you. But then I'm like, when you say, "Oh, I'm ready for convention," have at least I tell them like have at least 40 pieces. If you can, try to have a resin that you can do different colors, so you're not just spamming one-off pieces because I know that's exhausting. And then I said, go to 5 points. Like first, if you can, attend 5 points. Then, if you think you're ready, then at 5 points. Like get an artist alley table. It's not too expensive, and I'm telling you, you will have an amazing experience. And like I said, my friend Fifth Turtle attended last year. Of his own free will. I didn't say attend. I met him for the first time last year, and now this year he has a table. And from seeing from social media, people going after his stuff. We have a little collaboration. People was like, "Oh, this is the piece I'm going after. I need this." Like, so it shows. I'm like, you don't need a crazy man experience or need to have the best toy in the world. You just need to just get out there and do it. And that's like why 5 points is for me so much fun because it's close enough where everybody can make it there, and it's just like a big old family and just a lot of fun. And there's also a lot of alcohol, which is really cool too.
It is easy to forget because Alex and I we're not much for drinking, but it is also like it's a craft beer like festival. Is that what they call it? It's like there's a lot of booze there. If you like your craft beers are kind of like the thing these days. Everyone's opening up their own brewery, and this is a show where you're going to be encouraged.
I like how it's a much more accessible show
Yep.
because as Hero was mentioning, he said New York Comic Con a whole bunch of times because there's a section New York Comic Con which has had different names over the past few years. It's been the Block, it's been the Yard, it's been the Cult Yard, and that's where we find a lot of the toys there, a lot of the vinyl figures, a lot of the resin figures, and all of these independent designers. But like, it's got to be real expensive to get a table. It's tough to get a ticket to the show in the first place. And so now like this is a much easier, more accessible show to vend at, to buy tickets to go to get into. You don't need to tap your badge in and out every single time.
Yep.
And I dig that. Going last year, my perspective, like I got a new look at it because I thought I knew what I was doing and I didn't. Like coming from New York Comic Con, like I've got a bunch of Eric Scarecrow. I've gotten a couple Dr. A pieces, and I want an Ashley Wood 3A piece.
You have some Frombie stuff too, right?
Yeah, some Frombies. And I don't think he even does figures anymore. He's mostly pins now.
Right.
And like none of those were at this, like Frombie was there with pins, but like it was a different kind of aesthetic, and I had to adapt to that, and it was still a lot of fun. And there was a lot of stuff that I had never seen before. And so that was a really fun experience.
But you thought you knew.
I didn't.
But you didn't.
I did. It's correct.
Yep.
But
do you, Hero, when you go to 5 Points, having your own table, do you get any opportunities to kind of experience the floor and the other creators for your, like, is there anyone? I'm trying. Okay, we gotta tier this. I just went for the double question. I'm not gonna do it this time.
I'm glad you knew, because I was sitting here saying, "Oh, I'm about to tell him about himself, and he's forgetting everything he just said."
I caught myself. I'm learning. It only took me 7 years. This episode's gonna be a turning point, because Hero's calling us out for the things that we've been doing to guests for the last 350 episodes. But do you ever get any time, to kind of see the other creators and products available for yourself?
Now I'll tell you this. I wouldn't say a reputation, but I tend to not be at my booth that much because I'm like a child and I have ADD and I like to run around. And while running around, I like to take selfies, laugh at people, joke around them, run behind their booths, grab all the toys. And my manager's like, "I'm going to kill you if you don't get back here." And I'm just like, "Yeah, you got to find me first."
Can't kill me if I'm not there.
Yeah, I'm working on that. I'm trying not to be like that, especially this year. But I say I do. That's why for me, even though my setup only takes about 2.5 hours, I get there about 7 to 8 hours beforehand because of that reason. So I'm like, I want to see people setting up. I want to talk to people, take a little selfies. Even with my stories, I like to entertain people. I want people to be laughing. I want people to be like, "Oh man, I can't wait to see what they're doing. Oh man, that's what's going on." I try to do live videos, run around the floor, like stuff like that. So that's for me. That's for me what I do, because I know once the show starts, especially this year. This year, I don't expect to be able to leave my booth. I know I'm getting a tattoo at the show. I have a signing to do. I have 2 auctions. I have a lottery. I am generally not leaving my booth except for a lunch break, and then even during my lunch break, for me, I'm not used to being, I guess, this sought after, which is, it's cool. And I'm like, "Oh man, this is what I've been working for." But it scares me. But if it don't scare you, it ain't working. So that's, I guess, my take on getting around to see the other people in the other booths. And then even on the day of the show, I get there. They say the doors open at 8 a.m. I'm there at 8 a.m. I'll run past the line and say hi to people. Honestly, this time I'm gonna run past the line, just give out 3D Hero stickers. I'm like, "I don't know you, but you're getting a sticker." So because I got 3D Hero stickers printed, little slap stickers. But that's me. Like I said, I'm an entertainer. I'm a person. I like to be a personality. And just, I want people to have fun. I don't want you just to be like, "Oh, I'm going in, I'm gonna buy a toy, and that's it." I want you to be, I'm going in for an experience as a collector. I'm spending all this money. "Oh man, this person has entertained me. This person has added games to it. I'm gonna honestly do things in my story, like, hey, come to the table right now, and I'll give you a free whatever, free sticker. Here's a free resin piece I did years ago." Stuff like that. I'm like, I want people to really have fun. If you're spending hundreds of dollars on me, the least I can do is make you laugh.
I don't know if it was like a routine you've already done, but as I mentioned the other night on your live story, you were talking about like if you made a certain amount of followers and you'll do giveaways at your booth, and sometimes it might be a thing, or it might be a sticker, or it might be a hug, and then as you're telling this, you go, someone would complain like, "Oh, it's just a hug," and you go, "I'm the hero. Look at these biceps." and I'm like, I'm so glad this dude said yes to us.
Yep.
Yeah, like I dressed the part. I'm gonna have the outfit. I'm gonna be wearing my own gear. I have my own colors, and my manager, best friend, Princess Midnight, she will be there with me. She will be also matching. She already has her hair dyed. She has her nails to match, and we have new gear coming out. We've got tested out to see if people like it. If they like it, then we'll eventually maybe do a store or whatever. I don't know, but that's what we're gonna. But that's kind of what the thing is. Like, I don't want to come to a booth and be like, money, get out, money next. I'm like, that's I can do that from home. I want to be like, if I'm going to all this to go to the event, I want to entertain people. So that's why I do the whole spiel. Like, this is one thing I'll say. Let's say you come to the booth, you're looking, I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? You know, if you have any questions, let me know. I got most of the answers. I know I should have more, especially being my booth, but I got most. You know, here's the manager. She knows all the stuff, and I'll do stuff like that. And if people think it's just scripted, I'm like, it's not really scripted because that's just how I am. Like, I'll kind of do that thing where I pause in between sentences like this, like I don't know what I'm doing, but at the same time in my head, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. How do you do this? People say, "Oh man, I can't wait to the finish thing." I'm like, "Oh, me too," because I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't plan things. I'm like, I just my friends have all told me, they say, "Hero, you're funny when you don't plan things." So I just do this thing where I turn off my brain and hope that I don't say something I'm gonna regret. But yeah, that's just you see right now. That time you didn't laugh as much, and I'm like, okay, cool. Now I know for the future that joke is not as funny as I thought it was. But then me talking about the joke itself is funny, so I'm like, maybe I can use that. But don't think about it, don't plan it, just do it.
Just push it. Just it's fine.
Yeah, and that's why even with most people, I'll tell them, I'm like, so like they're like, oh yeah, we're friends, we're cool, and I'm like, I understand that, that's fine, but to be my friend, I need to know your boundaries because I'm going to push all of them in every way, shape, or form. But at least I need to know how far I can go. And they go, what? I'm like, exactly. But again, that's just, it's like they say, hey, you know that one friend where you just like, that crazy one does all the stuff like that? And he's like, oh, if you can't find that friend, you're that friend. I'm like,
look around the group. If you find him, it's you.
Yeah, and I'm using that friend where it's like, oh, you know that friend who walks across the street like his life does not matter? Yeah, I'm like, and then I remember I was like, that's not me. I'm cool. And then a few times I walked across the street and my friend had to grab my collar. What are you doing? I'm like, honestly, I was walking across the street. You'll see the cars come in. I didn't really care. I just wanted to go.
I was too cool for that.
That's the kind of person I am.
Is it plug time?
It's yeah, I was just about to get to plug time. As we come to the end of our show here, Hero, we like to already. We like to give our guests a moment or two to kind of plug where people can find their stuff. We mentioned we were browsing your Instagram earlier and things of that. And where can people go? You know, if they unfortunately can't make it to 5 points, or maybe they're looking into maybe next year, but in the meantime, where can people go to see your stuff, to buy your stuff, to see what you're making? If you want to just plug your social medias or your websites or where whatever shows you got coming up.
For me, let's see. So my main thing for everything is Instagram, which is it's just at the 3D Hero. That's where I put everything like first, and then Facebook, which is just again at 3D Hero. I rarely use Twitter because I don't understand it and it freaks me out, but I try. Same thing for Twitter. It's at the 3D Hero. If you see a post on Twitter, you'll be like, oh my goodness, he's still alive. Let me see. My website is again, it's the3dhero.com. I made sure to grab everything else. This is my name, and I went on every social media platform and was like, gotcha. So that's where you can find me at. I do lives here and there every once. I try to do 1 or 2 a week if I can. If we're lucky, I'll do like 3 or 4, but they're very random and sporadic. I try to post if I can once or twice a day, every single day except for weekends, because I just have a very on weekends. That's when I'm usually taking all the photos, editing stuff, getting ready for the week.
And a lot of those have a link to your store envy too.
Oh yeah, and Store Envy, I think it's like storeenvy.com/the3D Hero or something like that. I should know this. I really should.
I believe it looks like I just pulled it up here. It's the3dhero.storeenvy.com.
See, that makes a lot more sense.
I mean, you had it. It was just reversed. To be fair, you have a lot of different websites, a lot of different things that you're juggling, and you're also preparing for, one of your biggest shows, arguably of the year, in the next 48 hours, while talking to 2 morons who like your stuff.
No pressure or anything. Don't I'm working to get ready, and you're just like, hey, you have like 5 minutes into the show. I'm like, oh, thanks. I wasn't freaking out already.
Just here to help, man. Just here to help. Hero, I gotta say thank you so much for giving us time out of your insanely busy schedule that we're just reminding you about now. I this was a lot of fun. I'm so excited for 5 Points. We get to see your work. I get to see your work in person. Alex has already seen it in person. I get to see it in person for the first time, and along with all the other amazing creators and vendors and all that stuff. So I'm psyched, and I gotta say thanks again, man. This was a total pleasure.
Oh, well, you're very welcome, and I had a lot of fun, working all these hours by yourself. You get kind of bored talking to yourself every once in a while. So, to talk to another human being is awesome.
We try to be good human beings to talk to. Hopefully I'm going to get this episode up as soon as I can. If you're listening to this, if it's not June 1st or 2nd of 2019 yet, think about getting down to 5 Point Fest. That's in Brooklyn, New York. And go check out some designer toys, some indie comics, craft beer, kaiju, and sofubi. I don't know what that is. It's on the website. How do you say it? I butchered it. Sofubi. There it is. Street art, live painting, and also, of course, 3D Hero.
Yeah, I'll be at the front door.
At the front door. Did you say you're going to be shirtless?
Okay, well, maybe as shirtless as possible without actually being shirtless.
Awesome. All right. So with that said, that is going to do it for this week's episode. Hope everyone enjoyed. So until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
And I'm the hero, if you haven't heard,
He is the hero. That's what's up. And this has been episode 376 of Opinions May Vary.